And again, as always, just like that, here we are. It's another Monday. Monday. Yeah, that was a song way back in the day, right? I don't want to date myself, but I look forward to Mondays. I said it earlier on one of my broadcasts. I think a lot of people get up and it's Monday, long busy weekend or whatever. I look forward to Mondays because I always get to talk to some great people, and we're going to do that coming up here in just a few minutes. 3 great guests. We're going to have Dave Brown from the United Way coming and talking to us to give us an update on things that are happening in United Way Sarnia-Lambton, some fundraisers coming up. And my friend Jay Peckham, Mr. Fan Perspective of the Sarnia Sting, he's coming up here at 4 o'clock to bring some energy to the show and talk about the Sarnia Sting and what's happening so far. I mean, it's really early still, but you're going to want to stay tuned for that for sure, and make sure you watch the whole show because, well, I'll tell you why when I talk to Jay. There's the teaser. And Cynthia Lockrey is going to be talking to us about her new book, and that's a really exciting time. So she'll be our final guest. So let's get started, though. I hope you had a good weekend. Everything good out there for you. Lots of things to do. I always like to say no lack of anything to do in Sarnia. I didn't get out too much myself, except for we had a special wedding that we went to, Jennifer and I. So that kept us pretty busy over the weekend as well. So I hope you got out, had fun, safe fun, right, and enjoyed yourself with that. And there's some things coming up here. I don't talk politics much. Here's what I'm going to talk a little bit about politics today, but very briefly, because I say I don't put myself in that arena too much. Here's what I will say about politics. It's important for you to do your research and do the best you can to understand who you're voting for and make sure that you vote. I know that's even a debatable topic with some people. They say it really has gotten to the point where maybe it doesn't matter. It does matter. And if you don't think it matters, and I'm sorry you feel that way, but one of the great things that's happening here with our municipal election that's coming up, and by the way, this is a really interesting municipal election. And if you follow it at all, you'll understand why I'm saying that for different reasons. We've also got, one of the reasons is we've got the most people running for a seat that we've ever seen. I believe there's 28 people running for city councilor, and another, I think it's 11 or 12, don't quote me on the numbers, 11 or 12 running for county councilor, and 4 for mayor. So lots of things being shaken up in the municipal election here in Sarnia. So when I talk about the importance of you getting out and meeting your candidates or getting to know them, here's a great opportunity. Let's go full screen for this one. It starts tonight, actually. Meet the candidates, and Into the Good Shepherd's going to be there as well, handing out information on all of the candidates. But here's an opportunity for you to get out 3 times this week. Don't say that you can't meet your candidates, because 3 times personally, you'll be able to get out. It starts at Newton Park tonight, 4 o'clock. You can get out there. So coming up, shortly, you can get out there and meet all the candidates. Will they all be there? I don't know. A lot of them will be there. And I think it's great that this is being put on because, a lot of times you'll have debates, or I know like CHOK radio is really good about trying to have all the candidates on, but you don't get a lot of time, because especially now with, like, if you've got, 40 different people running for different seats, if you gave them each a minute, that's 40 minutes. So radio doesn't have that much time. But if you find it important at all, tonight you have the time to get out there. So Newton Park tonight, which is up in the Cathcart Boulevard area. This is great as well. They're doing this in 3 locations, different parts of the city. So tonight, North End, Newton Park. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock again, you'll be able to come to Tecumseh Park. That's just down the street from me, so I got no excuse to get down there. 4 o'clock at Tecumseh Park tomorrow, and then out Brights Grove Way at Mike Weir Park. So there you go. You want to ask your questions. You want to talk to your candidates. You want to pick their brain about, what the plans are. I mean, we're seeing a lot of different endorsements happening. We're seeing lots of different types of people. And when I say that, I mean lots of different backgrounds happening out there. And it's going to be interesting to see for sure. And of course, this year, the first year, you get to use one of these, right? Or the computer or the telephone. And that's been a debatable topic as well. You know what? It is what it is. Times have changed. And I'm kind of hoping that there'll be some encouragement there because of the electronic device age we live in, that maybe we'll get a larger turnout than we've seen, because it's been pretty weak in the last few elections, right? And maybe the younger generation's paying a little more attention. I don't know. I don't have the stats. I didn't read them. I'm not going to get into a list of who I think or whatever. Here's what I know. Take the time. You've been given the right a long time ago, so take the time. It is important, and the decisions we make today, can affect us down the road beyond the 4 years that they're in there. And I think kudos to anybody who's running. I think it's very courageous, especially at this time with all that has happened in the past 4 years, to be running. So to put yourself out there, I think deserves a round of applause. So I wish everybody all the best in that. So 4 o'clock. But we go at 4:30 because the show's not done till 4:30. So you can tell them you had to stay and watch the show first. All right. So there you go. Meet the candidates starting today and the next couple of days as well. I mentioned the Inn of the Good Shepherd. The Inn of the Good Shepherd always needs 40,000 pounds of food every month. That's an empty 20 by 40 swimming pool in order to meet the needs of just food. And never mind all the other services they provide as well. And you've got up till the next couple of days to order your brown bag lunch, right? Local Subway has decided to jump in and support the brown bag lunch. This is the second time they're doing the brown bag lunch. It was very successful last year. You'll be able to pick up your food at the Donny Club. I believe it's October 2nd. We'll have all this stuff listed on the Facebook page when we're done. But you can get out and support them. The brown bag lunch, you got to order it. Just go on to their website, or you can give them a call and say, hey, I want to order a whole bunch. They're only $10 for each. You get a 6-inch Subway sub, and you get some fruit, and you get some cookies. And Subway is donating all of it. So that means 100% of the proceeds are going back into the Good Shepherd. So when it's 100% going back, that's a pretty good deal. And who doesn't like Subway, right? Really? And if you don't want your cookie, by the way, I'll have your cookie, because I really love Subway cookies. They're delicious. They keep coming out with new flavors. We talk often about mental health in here in Sarnia-Lambton, and of course it affects many all around. And Sarnia Speaks, which was an initiative started by Danielle Cooper a few years ago. And she's done a fantastic job of growing Sarnia Speaks and bringing it to life more and more, creating a safe location for people to be able to open up and speak out about mental health issues. And the next one coming up this Thursday night, and it's called Me Too. And it's just an ongoing conversation. It's not just a one-time deal, right? Many of us deal with mental health in different ways, directly or indirectly. Certainly our community has been blessed with things like Sarnia Speaks and different initiatives and agencies that support anyone who has mental health issues, or anyone who doesn't but is dealing with it because of family members. So Sarnia Speaks is a great location. And again, Danielle has done a fantastic job of not just creating Sarnia Speaks, but understanding the different agencies that she's been able to work with, and they've come on board to handle it properly, to handle the discussion properly, because it is sensitive, right? And it's not an easy thing to talk about. So Sarnia Speaks coming up this Thursday night. So you can check it out on their Facebook page as well. All right. Well, do you like art? I've always had a really, really great appreciation for art, because I can't do it. I'm that guy that I literally, would you like me to show you how I draw a stick person? Because I can't even do that. So I always have a lot of appreciation for art. And Art Under Glass, once again, is returning to DeGroot's Nursery. That's part of the reason it's called Art Under Glass, in support of Harmony for Youth here. And it's coming up this Saturday and Sunday, starting at 9 o'clock on Saturday. I will actually be there from 9 till 1 this Saturday, live, bringing you some interviews with the local artists that are going to be there. And there's about 30 vendors that are there. It's the most they've had for this event. So it's really grown well. And DeGroot's is a fantastic location. They have lots of different events out there. But this very, very fitting for Art Under Glass, again, supporting Harmony for Youth. And that is beginning this Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning. So come on out for that. And you know what? It's just even just a nice walk around, coming out there and see all the vendors. You'll have to buy something, because I'll tell you some of the fantastic things that are coming out there. Garage accessories is going to be there, and a whole list of, well, like I said, 30 vendors. So again, supporting Harmony for Youth, and that will begin this Saturday and Sunday out at DeGroose Nursery Under the Glass, right? What a great idea. Art Under Glass. Glad I thought of it. Actually, it's fantastic to see it out there growing once again. So we're looking forward to being out there, and you'll have to watch live what's happening. And what's even better than that is you can watch live. That's great. I hope you do. Just come on out there and support a great cause. Again, Harmony for Youth. All right. Well, we talked about this one last week, the Ladies Fall Expo, and this is in support of Noel's Gift once again. And it's coming up October the 24th here in Sarnia. And this is like lots of vendors going to be at this one. And it's been going on for, I believe, 13 years now. And again, supporting Noel's Gift. Going to be a great turnout. Lots of local. Well, it's all about the ladies Fall Expo. I think I'm going to be there live as well for this one as well, but I'm going to definitely be outnumbered that day. But going to be lots of great local vendors, local businesswomen who are participating in this, and again, supporting Noel's Gift. So another great cause that's coming up. We'll keep posting all this stuff again beyond the show, so that you have all the links to come back to and check out. Cancer Society, always mention them as well. Paula was here a few weeks ago talking about their walk and run that's coming up in October. I think it's only like $30 for a team. So supporting Cancer Society here in Sarnia-Lambton. And September, which is almost over, which is like blowing my mind that like today is September 24th. And I'm like, what summer? It went so fast out there. But of course, Cancer Society always looking for local support. We got so much to choose from here. I know you can't get to it all. I understand that. But if we each take a moment to give her a little piece of what we can, it certainly helps everybody out. The Flavors and Favors is another event that's supported or going to be put on by the Cancer Society this year. It's grown over the years to the point they've had to move it again. This year they're going to be at the Quality Inn in Sarnia, so they can make room for more people to get in there. Tickets go very, very fast for this, and a silent auction. And guess who the auctioneer is? Yeah. Once again, I've been practicing up on my, hey, how you doing skills. And that one over there, yeah, I don't talk that fast. I'm not a pro at that, but I do have a lot of fun. And we do raise lots of money for the Canadian Cancer Society here. All right. Wow. I'm glad I got through all of that. And we've got more to talk about that's coming up here in Sarnia. And this time we're going to talk with the United Way of Sarnia-Lambton. And we're fortunate enough to be able to have arranged. Dave Brown is going to join us here in just a moment. And he's going to be here once a month to talk to us about what's happening with United Way of Sarnia-Lambton and where your dollars are going. When, you know, everybody's always reaching out. Everybody, you know, money isn't everything, but it's up there with oxygen. You got to have it to live, right? Everybody's always looking for what to do. And, you know, if you're not sure where to put your money, United Way is a good option because they support a lot of services here in Sarnia. And Dave Brown coming onto the screen right now. Hello, how you doing there, Dave?
Good afternoon, David. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thanks for coming back again. You're a busy guy.
There's lots going on right now, which is great. I mean, it's resulting in increasing donations, getting to the United Way, which to your point will go to 19 different local agencies.
Yeah, and that's important. I know it's something that you and I like to remind everybody that all the money that's raised by United Way in Sarnia-Lambton stays right here in Sarnia-Lambton.
Absolutely. 35 local programs and services are dependent upon that. But, you know, there's more to United Way than just dollars raised locally, stays locally. We've got a local member board of directors that make local policy decisions, set local budgets, and they're the ones that make the allocations decisions. So it's all local.
Yeah, and you've got quite a goal to reach again this year, $2 million, which that was the goal last year, if I remember.
Right, and we did exceed last year's goal by about $8,000. So you're right. Our goal this year is $2,000 again, and we feel if we can
$2 million.
What did I say?
Right. I thought you said 2,000.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
No way, $2 million.
I'm glad you're correct. I'm glad you're on the ball. But yeah, $2 million. so that we can continue to fund the agencies at the appropriate level. But right now, David, your viewers would be interested to know we just passed the 1/3 mark, and we're now sitting at $662,000 so far. So we're off to a great start. We're hoping that momentum will continue on the next 8 or 9 weeks.
Oh yeah, I mean that's fantastic because you just announced, what are you, like a month in?
Not even that. We just finished the second full week, so we're just starting our 3rd week today.
Yeah. You and I've had many conversations, even off camera, about the support in this community here in Sarnia-Lambton, and, how great they are coming together to support.
Absolutely.
Because there's so much to choose from. And a lot of this, though, I mean, I'm sure you've got some corporate supporters in there, which is fantastic, but
right.
The local level, I mean, people just donating on a regular basis, that's very strong as well.
Absolutely, and that's the bread and butter really of the United Way. It's payroll deductions, or if you're a retiree or annuitant, it's through the mail campaign. I mean, we're going to receive about $240,000 this year just through the mail alone. That's from individuals. The other thing that your viewers should remember is many of the local corporations match dollar for dollar. So for every dollar that's raised by an individual, likely a former employee or a current employee, is matched by the corporation. So that's 2 reasons really why we need the support of individuals.
Oh wow! So when I give $1, corporate's giving $1.
Well, so long as you work for that company. For example, Nova would match all employees and retirees. Cabot Canada will match all their employees and retirees. And in fact, many other companies do that in our community.
That's powerful. That's fantastic. Let's talk about some of the services that do get supported. You said there's 19?
19 agencies that provide 35 different programs and services. Right now, 41% of the funding is used for youth programs that keep kids in school, doing better in school, and out of conflict with the law. 30% goes to family programs, and that's kind of divided into 2. Half the programs, like those from the Salvation Army, are geared to reduce fears of homelessness, and the other half or so is to mental health and anti-suicide prevention. And then the final 27%, which next year will grow to 29%, is for seniors programs that keep seniors safe, healthy, and in their own homes for as long as possible.
Yeah, fantastic. It's got to be rewarding for you and your team. Like you have a team of 5,
right?
I mean, recently you just had what was it, Day of Giving, or what am I getting that right?
The Day of Caring, which is part of our campaign kickoff every year. And you're right, we had 250 people, which is the most we've had in a long, long time, doing work at the homes of seniors. Cleaning out gutters, cleaning windows, wiping windows, making sure the back deck is solid and isn't going to fall. And we also did work at some of the agencies, painting, cleaning, disinfecting toys, all to improve their quality of services to the community.
Yeah, and the people that you're helping on that day, they must be so grateful when they see you come into the door, and then they look out. And I mean, I know I caught up with you last year, and the one lady I talked to, she was just like, could not believe the difference in her backyard now, and it just really kind of makes a person's day. And these folks that are helping are taking the day off work, giving up their own pay to come out and help somebody in the community.
Well, I should point out that they are volunteering to be there, but their salary is maintained by their company in most cases, not all, but in most cases. So, but the work that they do is phenomenal. And oftentimes, if the work's not done, they'll go back on the following Saturday or the next day to get the work done. The gratitude from the people getting the work done is just unbelievable. I'll tell you a quick story, if I could, about a woman who lives in the south end of Sarnia. She had an old, almost falling down garage, and a tree fell on it. She had a notice from the city to take it down. It's a safety hazard. So we decided that, sure, we can go down and maybe we can take the tree down. But once the employees from Enbridge found out and saw it, they immediately called Enbridge, and they got a backhoe there. They got a flatbed, a dump truck, and they took everything down for her. So now she's in full compliance with the city. Everything is safe for her kids and grandkids and the neighborhood kids, all done in that one day. So that's just one, and she was so grateful because she had no idea what she was going to do to,
well, who do you call, and what would it, and what would it have cost her? I mean, really, that could have created more of a burden for her.
Absolutely, and she just didn't have the resources, so she had no clue what she was going to do. So of course she was fighting back to tears when she was telling me the story and when I met her, and it's just unbelievable, the people and the industry in our community. And there's many stories like that every year.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, we got to talk about the money. I mean, you're a third of the way there. That's fantastic, but fundraising is a big part of what you and your team of five. I keep pointing out the team of five because you're a small team that gets so much done. First thing you got coming up is on October the 27th.
We've got our locally Lambton dinner, and we've held this now for a number of years. We didn't last year because of the province-wide labor dispute with the colleges. But what it is, David, it's a buffet meal, expertly prepared by the students at Lambton College, supervised by Alistair Mackay. And all the food on the buffet is grown or produced or raised or caught in the area. So it's an incredible buffet with beef and lamb and chicken and so many, and vegetables like you wouldn't believe, local salads. Cost for that is $45 a ticket, or 2 for $85. We sell out every year, so I encourage your viewers, if they're interested in knowing more information, to look at our website at www.theunitedway.on.ca, or to give our United Way a call directly.
Yeah, wow, that sounds delicious, and the students at Lambton College, this is part of their course. Then credit for them.
Absolutely. Not only did they learn about preparing these foods, but they learn a little bit about the local agricultural system and about supply management and the great food that is grown right here. I always say you don't have to go to Prince Edward Island to get the best lamb. It's right here. You don't have to go to Calgary or Alberta to get great beef. It's raised right here in our community. Yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more on that. I mean, we've had the markets under the bridge. We have the markets at Blue Water Health. They have one out in Brights Grove. I mean, so it comes from all over.
Right.
And it's really two birds with a stone here, supporting United Way, giving some education to the local college students. And, something else in there, too, that I think is important, because the college does do a lot in participating with the community with different organizations. It helps create that sense of community to the young students as well, and realize what's going on, because you and I both know just how important that is to give back to the community. So that's a great opportunity as well.
Right.
You guys must like food, because the other one coming up too is you got what's pasta next.
The next we've got is the Pasta Fest, which is a first-time event for us. It'll be held at the Dante Club on Thursday, November the 15th. And we encourage people to call our office at 336-5452 to get their tickets for that. And if you've ever participated in a Pasta Fest at the Dante Club, you're in for a real treat.
I usually plan my day so that when I'm done, I can come home and take a nap.
Right.
Because there's so much food there.
I should point out, too, that takeout is also available, so you can kind of nap and eat at the same time.
Nap and eat. So now I need a driver now. I got to find somebody to get me home from there. I'll just hang out with you, and you can drive me home when it's all done.
Right.
That's fantastic. It must be challenging at times to you got to be creative, right? I mean, there's a lot of different events going on. I mean, pasta dinners and different things. A lot of different organizations do the same things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that challenging? Does your team find that challenging? How do we keep being creative?
It is a challenge. And one of the new things that we're doing is our stair climb, which is strategically planned right after our 2-meal event on Giving Tuesday. Right. Tuesday, November the 27th, we've got our stair climb. This is just our second year, so that people can get sponsors or donate $50 themselves, and they can climb the stairs over at Sandy Lane. They could climb 1, 2, or all 3 buildings if they like. So that's just another example of their creativity. I should point out, though, that we're grateful to the Dante Club, who actually approached us and said, we want to get involved. We see the work that United Way is doing. We think we can partner with you and have a great event and raise money for United Way and some awareness for the Dante Club at the same time. So, we rely on community partners as well.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic that they came forward and said that, and the Dante Club does do a lot in the community. Absolutely. As well.
Right.
But I wanted to ask you about this stair climb,
right?
because, well, I don't walk much, but has anybody ever done all three buildings?
Oh, absolutely. You'd be
Really?
surprised. Many do. Many do. Yeah. It actually started out, Toronto has had a very successful stair climb for years, climbing up the CN Tower. What makes our stair climb a little different from theirs is once you start, you got to continue in Toronto. With ours, you can quit after the first building or after the second building.
Right.
And
You
then
can
if
get
you
off
do,
at any floor, eh?
at any floor and at the end of each building. And every participant will get a cooler bag to help, so they'd remember their accomplishments.
Yeah, well, I'll take the cooler bag, but I'm thinking if I had to climb one whole building, I probably wouldn't have any trouble forgetting about it happening. No, it probably wouldn't hurt me either. But now that I know I can stop and get off at any floor I want, I'd probably sneak out though and then take the elevator and run away.
Well, we have had like last year, we had people from all fitness levels and skill levels.
Yeah.
So it's great. We're glad to see a cross section of the community come out, and that's sponsored by Drulo. Drulo actually owns Sarnia-Lambton, so they allow us to climb there free of charge and help promote it. They're looking at sending a team down from London as well to participate, and they also make a substantial cash contribution so that we can afford those coolers and to help promote the event.
Oh, that's a great idea. My dad lives in the middle building, so I'll have to. I could race him. And funny, he'd probably beat me. But anyway, that's fantastic. You know, you've got lots going on there. And like you say, you're third way to your goal already of heading towards $2 million. You've got to be pretty proud of that.
We're very proud. And, this year's campaign seems to have started off like last year's ended. You may recall about middle of the campaign last year, things started looking as if we may not make it. And then in December, everything came together for us. We had campaigns that we thought were finished, ended up bringing in more money. Other campaigns that we weren't even sure were running effective campaigns, run unbelievable campaigns. So this year's campaign seems to have started off really as it ended. So we're just hoping that momentum continues.
Let's see if we can get ahead of the game this year,
Right.
And then next year raise the bar even just a little bit more. Right? I mean, that's got to be the other challenge too. Is I guess deciding how far do we set that goal.
It really is as much a marketing objective as it is a performance objective. We don't want to be too greedy. We know 2 million is going to be a challenge. I mean, we understand that the challenges that people have in our community with electricity rates and gas prices and whatnot, and so we're aware of those, but we're also aware of the needs for some other folks. We've got a number of seniors who are house poor that they inherited the house from a spouse, and that's all that they've got. So they need they need whatever help we can provide them. They want to be in their own homes, and that's where it's best for them to be as well.
Yeah. What about we just got another minute here, but what about government support? Is the government help you guys out at all, or is this strictly you guys?
No, United Way is 100% funded through donations, corporate donations, special events revenues, that kind of thing, and more through interest revenues because a lot of the companies and donors will donate early for the United Way. In some cases, very early in the year, we can immediately put that in the bank and get that invested and start generating some income right away. So that's been growing in importance as well for us.
Oh, that's good. I really, I wanted the people that are watching to understand that there is no government involvement there, because I think sometimes that's a misunderstanding, right? So,
right.
If you're self-contained there, self-working or self-supportive, I mean, kudos to you, Dave. I know you've been doing it for many years. It's a reason they're keeping you around, but I know you've got a fantastic team supporting you.
I do. I really do. Yeah, and you're right. There's only 5 of us, which is small for United Way that raises in excess of $2 million.
Yeah. Dave Brown, thanks again so much for joining us. I guess probably about another 4 or 5 weeks, we'll look forward to having you back and give us an update. And I guess I'm going to have to start working out if I'm going to get through this pasta and stuff that you're putting on. And say hello to your team for me as well.
I will for sure. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, David.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Dave Brown from the Sarnia-Lambton United Way here. They've always got so much going on, and it is challenging. Everybody needs money, right? Every organization, non-for-profit charities, all that stuff. And there can be so much, and obviously we can only do so much as individuals, but pick one anyway, whether that's United Way or an organization that's close to your heart, because it is important. And a lot of them, like David just said, they're not even supported by the government at all. They're self-supporting because of folks like you that are in the community giving their support. So thanks again, Dave Brown and his team, for all their hard work. All right. Well, speaking of hard work, I'll tell you, this next guy that's coming up that I know, he's a hardworking guy. He's over here. You think I get around? This guy is a working tramp. That's what he's going to be like. What? Why are you calling me? Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Peckham. How you doing?
Tramp? Seriously, tramp?
I said working tramp.
Okay.
I didn't just call you a tramp. I mean,
wow.
That wouldn't, then I'd be in really big trouble for that.
It's funny because I'm actually really okay with all that, but
you are. Yeah, I know you would be. Jay Peckham, how you doing, buddy? You are a busy guy. I know you got lots going on with this organization and that organization.
I'm doing great, Dave. Yeah, thanks.
But I know this is one of your favorite times of the year.
Oh, hell yes.
Because you get really excited, and I get to spend more time with you. So
yes,
I feel
absolutely. I hate these summers off, man. It kills me.
The Sarnia Sting back in action. Jay Peckham's favorite OHL team, and been an interesting start. But the home opener is coming up this Friday, September the 28th, against the Flint Firebirds.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. Have you been watching so far, I'm sure, watching closely?
I've been following it a little bit here and there. I think, I mean, you know what? I love to stay positive because, the Sting has shown so much over the last couple of years that they're really building, and I think I'm really excited to see what's going to happen this year. We don't have as many of the sort of the big name, superstar highlight reel kind of guys, but I think what the coaches, which Darren Hatcher and David Legwan are building right here now, is actually a younger team, but they're really instead of trying to do what we did, way back when we had Steve Stamkos, we had this superstar and we tried to build around a team to support him. I think what they're really trying to focus on right now is actually trying to build a team, like just a team, like an all-star
cast, if you will.
100%. And it could, because, hockey really is a team sport. I mean, it's going to take the talents of more than an individual person to come here and produce a winning season. So, I like what I've seen so far. I'm really pretty excited to see what's going to happen in the years in this year, in this season. I think watching around the OHL, you get to see a little bit of what's going on with some of the other teams, and of course, you always worry about those top end teams. The Knights are going to have another good team this season because the Hunters said so, and there's we've talked about this many times, Dave, you and I, is that the OHL, the level of competition in the OHL is just so high that in any given year or on any given day, in any given week, and every given season, it's anybody's game. But you really do try your best to plan those kinds of things. And I like some of the things I've seen with the Sting right now, for sure.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, you and I've had many conversations over the past. I think we're coming into, I think maybe our third year together, but I think fourth for me. And somebody who's new to the sport as far as talking about it, the timing that I've seen compared, if we go back 3 years ago, even to the beginning of this team. And that was a lot of what we talked about back then was here's the start of a new team, and we're going to see this. And there was a few guys that came and went, probably a few that we wished stuck around, but I mean, they get called up to the next level and that sort of thing. It's interesting to me though, and that happens on every team. I think we always talk about who's going to get called up. And I mean, was it a couple of years ago, we had 3 called up and nobody came back.
Yeah.
So that's challenging to the coaching team, and but that's kind of what they're there for. They're supposed to encourage and move up to the next level. But even at the preseason this year, pardon me, you and I talked, and I always find it interesting. The fans are like, they're already making decisions about a team for this year. They're like, well, this is going to happen and that's good. Like, it's preseason. Like, it's way too early to tell.
It is way too early.
Anybody could get hurt or anything. Like, anything could happen. I probably just jinxed this now. But
but you're right, Dave. It is true. I mean, we're still early in the season, but I mean, it doesn't stop you. I mean, yeah, I caught the red, the black and yellow game, black and white game, and I followed a little bit during training camp and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, I like watching some of these guys that come on, because you never know when you're going to get another like Matt Martin story. Some local kid comes out, tries out for the team, ends up making it just for whatever reason. And next thing you know, 3-4 years later, and he's playing for the New York Islanders or wherever Matt went to. And I think he's actually in Toronto now, which is which is terrific. But I mean, you never know when you get another one of those stories, kind of thing, right? So I love watching sort of some of these young guys still come out. And I know that even in training camp, we've had guys that have been, coming to our training camp for 2 or 3 years, and some of them are just starting to crack the lineup, which is terrific. It's great to see some of those guys develop and provide a little bit of promise for us for this season. It's nice to see some of the new guys that have come in and, that we've scouted with some real talent. I think it's Jacob Perreault, our number one pick, and boy, was he!
You kind of read my mind there. Let's talk about the game that just happened. Well, let's start with Jamieson Rees. We'll get to Jacob there.
100%.
But I mean, these guys, Jamieson Rees, even in the the preseason game that we saw, there's Rees and Jostling. I think we would agree that we want to see these guys on a line together.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm a big fan of Sean Jostling, but Jamieson Rees, he's another one of those great stories. I mean, we just didn't get enough of the benefit of actually having Jamieson Rees play last year because of injuries and stuff like that. But I mean, he is an exciting player. Wins a lot of face-offs for us. And I'm a big fan of watching these guys that are coming in that they're smart players. I mean, anybody can be an athlete. You go to the gym often enough and you eat the right things, you can be an athlete, right? But the guys who tend to do really, really well in the sport are the guys that know where to be and when to be there and how to make things happen. And I really think that Jamieson Rees is one of those guys for us. I think he's just a smart hockey player. And he sees the game well. You're gonna, anybody who's on the inside, they're gonna say that he sees the game well. So, very excited.
And still young. Like he's was he 17?
Yep, absolutely.
Fantastic there. You mentioned Jacob Perreault. We'll talk about next. Here's another guy. Really, he's making a debut appearance with showing up at the last game. He get 2 goals out of there.
Yeah.
What are you seeing there?
Well, and I think again, it's he's another number one pick. He was number one pick for us, I think, and I've been really impressed right now. Again, this is a smart guy. I find him to be a good, persistent player. And we talked many times when we do the fan perspective that I'm a big fan of persistent players. Those guys that get in, sort of make a play, and whether it works or doesn't, they just, then they peel off and whatever, and they kind of leave things behind a little bit. And this guy is not one of those guys. This guy is one of those guys that'll, until that puck is either in the net or the whistle's blown, he's playing. And I love that kind of play. I love that persistent play. That creates opportunities for us. I think you're going to see a lot of Jacob make a lot of opportunities for us.
Yeah, I agree. Let's say he plays beyond the boards, right?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
When the whistle blows, it's that guy. Like you say, he's still moving.
100%.
Yeah. Anthony Salinitri, I know he's a favorite for sure, and for a lot of good reasons. We saw him get a goal in there for the last game as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of your favorites, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'm a fan of Anthony because you know what? He's one of those guys that you can just kind of count on. Like you can put him out in any pretty much any situation, and he's one of those utility players. He can be very offensive. When he's playing forward, he creates opportunities, but he's also very defensive, a good, strong, playing defensively in our zone. So he works well on the PK. He works well on the power play. I mean, Anthony, you can put him into just about any situation, and he's good. The one thing I want to see with Anthony this year that I know he's struggled with a little bit is maybe some consistency. But, for the most part, he is a very strong and consistent player on our team, and he creates far more opportunities than he breaks down on. But so I'm a big fan. You can put him in anywhere. Yeah,
I agree with you on that one for sure. And let's talk about leadership here, because Anthony is he's 20 years old, right? So he's one of our overagers. Is that right?
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Yeah. So I mean, these guys who have been around, and not just been around the OHL, but been on this team for that many length of years. Yep. The team's got to be, or the team's got to be looking to guys like him to lead the younger ones that are just. And
you're absolutely right, Dave. And I think that, that's the thing. The one thing I hear most often from guys coming up from junior B or new players to the team and stuff like that is until they really find that the pace of play in OHL. They're always just a little bit behind. And that's where we're going to look to guys like Anthony Salonicheri, who we know can keep up with the pace of an OHL game. We know this guy plays at that and competes at that level. We're going to be looking to him for some leadership to really, sort of guide some of these newer guys and bring them up so that they understand the pace of the game.
Yeah. Adam Ruzicka, another one that scored the other day. That's why I wanted to bring them all in here. But he's also a strong player for the Sarnia Sting. And he's also – is he overager yet?
No, I think we've got another year with him. He's at 99. So,
right. Okay.
But I know Adam, Adam's a big guy, and he can play strong. I think he – I'm kind of on the fence about Adam. Like there are moments or flashes, where we see these brilliant plays and he can be persistent. But on the other hand, you can tell a little bit when his game is not on.
I'll interject with you because I think I know what you're wanting to say, but I'll say it. And I really like Adam. He's a strong player. But there are those times I'd like to see more consistency 100%. In his persistency.
Yes,
I think let's. He seemed a little tired last year. Is that the word?
Well, and you know what? And there might be a lot of different reasons for that. I mean, we don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff we don't know about these players. We can only go on what we see. And what I want to say about Adam is, I do not doubt that this kid has skills. Okay.
Absolutely.
I absolutely do not doubt that he's got skills.
Absolutely.
Because we've seen them. I mean, the guy knows how to score. He finds himself periodically in really, really strong positions to make opportunities and to be a strong player on the ice. But you know what? It's that watch some of these guys when they don't have the puck on their stick and see what's going on. And I think that if I was the guy coaching Adam Ruzicka, my advice to him would be simply, you need to do better when the puck is not on your stick.
Needs to get positioned a little better. Like you talk about positioning,
I want to see him faster to get into the play, faster to get off the ice when the shift is done. Okay. I want to see him, using his size a little bit more because, we play, typically the Sting have not done well against physical, aggressive teams in the past. And that's something that when we've got some size and we've got some guys with some skill and some size, they can bring up that aggression a little bit and throw their body around a little bit and push back a bit.
You think the Sarnia Sting overall needs to be more physically aggressive?
No, I don't think that's necessarily, I don't want to suggest that you counter aggression with more aggression, because then we get free for all stuff. And that can be a struggle. I think you counter physical or aggressive and physical play with smart play, being quick to the puck, being quick to get off when your shift is done, not overstaying your welcome on the ice, being in the right places at the right time. But also, there are times where we need our bigger guys to step up and allow some of our smaller, quicker players to, those opportunities as well. So I'd like to see a little more defensive play out of Adam, and just a little bit more when he doesn't have the stick on his puck, just to be a little quicker on his feet, knowing where he's going to next and what's going to happen.
Well,
but
maybe
don't get me wrong, a very skilled player, and I think
absolutely.
This year, in his last year or two with the Sting, I really, I would love to see him be the breakout superstar. Nothing would make me happier.
All right. Well, MB Wilson, who's out there, been watching. This is his 11th season as a ticket holder. He says, keep your feet moving is a good way to put it.
100%. Right? I mean, it is absolutely a fair statement for sure.
All right. Well, Jay, I know I could probably do a whole hour show with you, and maybe we should. Maybe this year we should look at adding some more into because we don't have enough to do. Friday, September.
It's not like I really know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah. Well,
I'm the fan perspective,
Do I dare say how much I've learned from you?
No, don't.
And I learned about sports too. Oh boy, here we go. Jay Peckham joining us here. Jay, thanks for being here, buddy. And coming up this Friday, September the 28th, is the Sarnia Sting home opener as they take on and host the Flint Firebirds. Flint, they were a real thorn in the side last year. Let's hope the Sting can overcome that. But keep watching. When the show's over, I have got a pair of tickets to the Sarnia Sting home opener. We'll be getting a contest that will run up through Thursday, and we'll give away a pair of tickets to that. And Jay Peckham will join me. I don't know how many times he's going to join me. We haven't figured that all out yet, but we'll see you at the game on Friday.
Logistics.
Jay Peckham, take care. We'll see you Friday.
Thanks, Dave. We'll see you then.
All right. Go Jay Peckham. Oh, yeah. Go Sting, go. We caught it. Friday, September the 28th. Again, the OHL season has begun, and so far, so good. They won their last game 6-2. It's early in the season to see lots of things happening. But we're going to be at all the Sarnia Sting home games. I'm going to be there for that. And if my friend Jay Peckham will join me. Wow. I feel like we broke up for a while. My friend Jay Peckham will join me with his fan perspective. And one of the other things we're doing this year as well is we're going to have, they have different charities at every hockey game, and we'll have them joining us well so we can get them some exposure as well. We want to say thanks to the Sarnia Sting for welcoming us back onto the concourse. We'll be there live, and we'll have those tickets for the home opener Friday, September the 28th. All right. My next guest is becoming a regular here on the show, which is fantastic. She's a really busy lady as well. She might even be busier than Jay Peckham. But anyway, she's got another book to talk about with us here. And here she is, our friend Cynthia Lockrey. How you doing, Cynthia?
Good. And you?
I'm doing fantastic. You really are a busy lady.
Yeah, I just got back from Sarnia a couple of weeks ago. I'm back in Vancouver Island, but I was in Sarnia and in Toronto promoting my new book.
Yes, and I'm sorry that I missed you here, but I'm hearing it's going really well.
Yeah, so Your Child's Voice is helping those parents and caregivers who have kids with special needs or kids that fall through the cracks. There's a lot of kids with different speech delays, autism, ADHD, a variety. And a lot of those kids have more than one. And parents are shuffled from specialist to specialist in treatment. And my son was at Pathways when we were in Sarnia, and my brother is still supported by Community Living in Sarnia.
Oh, fantastic! So this is been a personal attachment for you and a personal journey, I guess, really too, right?
Yes, my brother's autistic, and he works at Goodwill as well in Sarnia. And I saw my parents advocate for him when advocacy wasn't a word. It was the 70s, it was the 80s. And then I had a child with some needs, and I realized, I thought, wow, I wish there was a guide to help me. There was nothing. So I thought, I'm a journalist. I'm going to write this.
Yeah.
So I wrote it and I interviewed other parents, other caregivers, healthcare professionals to share the story. And what I found is I've had people come up and cry and say,
Mm.
thank you. I'm struggling. I need this. When I was in Sarnia, I put on my Facebook the video I did on global television. And within 5 minutes, 3 moms emailed me and said, can I get your book before you leave town?
Oh, wow.
But
Well,
the
so
bookkeeper has it too.
yeah, that's right. Right. And, well, that's got to make it feel pretty good. I mean, you know, that, I mean, writing a book is challenging too, right? To what to leave in and what to take out. And, but when you're having an impact, I guess is, a good way to put it. You're having an impact on people. Hey, I can somewhat relate, you go back to the 70s. I had epilepsy as a boy. And that was in the 70s. Epilepsy, what's that? It was kind of like Tourette syndrome. It was, even the doctors were like, what is this, right? And so I look back now and I see that it was challenging for my parents to deal with that. And, I mean, I don't like to use the word normal, but I say, children alone without special needs are challenging. Right.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's extra challenging, I guess. And I would think it would be tiring, mentally tiring.
Well, here's the challenge. When you're raising the child with special needs, you're sleep deprived, you're an emotional roller coaster, you're trying to support the child as best as you can, but you're also trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And you put all those factors together and you go to a meeting. And I know it's happened to me where I'm given the information, I'm sleep deprived, I've got a kid that's having a tantrum, I'm trying to calm down, and you're giving me this information, and I don't even know what you're saying to me, or I'm having difficulty processing. And a lot of people are intimidated by healthcare professionals thinking, I can't push back, I can't ask questions. So the one thing I did in the book that I'm really proud of is I have downloadable forms and questions that parents can print off.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And take with them. So you're going to your doctor, here's some questions. You're going to a meeting at the school. And I've been in those meetings. There's usually about 10 people and then the parent.
Yeah, it's kind of intimidating.
Well, and they're throwing all this information at you and you're supposed to process it. And they're telling you things about your child that I want to go sit and cry, but I can't because I got to listen to you and respond. So having these forms or these questions in front of you will help you be able to go, oh, yeah, I have to ask about this.
Yeah. Well, and processing that information. I mean, like I say, these are educated professionals that, they have a job to do, but they went to school for it all. And then we have our children, we're not necessarily, I like to say, educated enough, right?
Yeah.
But we know our child too. So we have to try to relay that to the people that are dealing with our child at school, et cetera, right? Did you go to a lot of professionals in writing this book and get their feedback?
Absolutely. I tapped into people that I know and said, okay, what is it that you want parents to know? And actually, a dentist is one person I interviewed.
Oh.
And I interviewed her because she's a friend. And when she wrote her story, it was like, oh, that's so brilliant. Because she talked about preventative care because these aren't the kids that are going to really want to sit through a dental appointment.
Who does?
Right? Yeah. So she talked about, and also the other thing is most parents don't think to share medical information with a dentist.
Right.
But the dentist can talk to the doctor, and some conditions actually have dental conditions with it. But those are two professionals that rarely ever speak to each other.
Yeah, you're right. My wife's in the dental field, and I've heard that conversation many times. People don't realize they need to, hello, you need to tell us this stuff, right?
So these are the things that when you're sleep deprived and you're dealing with different issues that I never would have thought of it until I interviewed her. And the other piece is when you're talking, it's my child versus the people you're talking to. That's one child. It's a child.
Right.
And my doctor gave me the best advice. He said, "You will be the expert on your son, not me. I'm here to support you, but you will always know more about him than I will."
Yeah, very true. Sarah Ingalls is out here watching, and she wants to know, where can we get this book?
If you're in Sarnia, you can go to the Sarnia Bookkeeper at Northgate. If you're not, you can go to yourchildsvoice.com. It's in bookstores across the world right now, actually, and of course, Amazon. But support local if you're in Sarnia and go see the Bookkeeper.
Yeah, they're fantastic over there as well.
Absolutely.
And they do a lot of the local stuff and have lots of people in. And by the way, Sarah, and I know Sarah quite well, feel free to reach out to Cynthia on Facebook, right? Become
Absolutely.
friends.
Absolutely. And you can message me on yourchildsvoice.com as well. And like I said, I really did this out of seeing a huge void and
Sure.
thinking, and I also, Sarah, made it really thin on purpose because I know you do not want to read a 400, 500 page book.
Yeah.
You want somebody who's going to get to the point, tell you the goods, give you practical advice, and let you get some sleep.
Yeah. This is, you're writing, and you've been a journalist for how long?
I was a journalist back in the 80s at Sarnia Gazette, and then
Wow.
the old one. So
I was there with you. It was the 80s.
It was the 80s. And now I do a lot of patient advocacy work. I was just in Chatham, Kent, 2 weeks ago doing grand rounds at the hospital, talking to the doctors about how they can use patient voices. I did a workshop for the staff on how patient storytelling and patient experience can transform healthcare.
Yeah.
So this book is part of that journey, and also Bed Rest Mom, my first book about high-risk pregnancies, is about giving people the tools to advocate for themselves, but also the healthcare professionals listening to those parents and voices and coming together to work together as a team.
You've really, and Sarah says, and here's where you're making an impact. She says, you're amazing. Perfect.
Thanks,
She says,
Sarah.
thank you. She says, I have 2 children with ADHD and 1 with nonverbal autism. So I'm thinking she's looking at you as like a blessing today. You've really carved out a niche for yourself, though, as a writer, would you say? Because what you're doing is like specific, I guess you could say, journalism advocacy.
Yeah, it's been really interesting because if you told me 5 years ago I would be doing this, I didn't even know that this existed. But I started the first book as, quite frankly, therapy. I'd gone through, some postpartum issues and some PTSD from having a child in the neonatal intensive care unit. And I just want to help people. And then the second book was my friends, as I'm in this, as you know, Sarah, you are as well, in this field, meeting these parents who are all struggling. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do something that would have helped me. And I learned a heck of a lot in interviewing people in this book. And now I'm looking to write a third book about how to advocate for yourself as an adult in the healthcare system.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And patient advocacy is the hot topic now in healthcare because they're seeing that patients do have a voice, and by listening to the voices, you can transform healthcare from the patient perspective versus from the healthcare perspective.
Well, and it's a good and interesting point. I think I'm sure you'll do well with that, because it could kind of, I mean, going back to when I was a boy with epilepsy, I was in the hospital a lot. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, my parents, of course, they were the ones that were dealing with the doctors, mostly my mom. And you just kind of did whatever the doctor said, right? You're going to do this, you're going to take this pill, you're going to do that. And when do we say, wait a minute, I don't agree with that, or I don't understand that, or explain that to me in a different way, or a second or third opinion? Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Well, and I encourage parents to print off everything they get every time there's a test, a diagnosis, anything, and have a binder. Because then when you go to the appointment, you're a little bit more prepared.
Right.
And you can connect the dots, but it's also important you find one person to be your child's, I call it team captain. So in my child's case, it's our pediatrician. So she is not dealing with ear infections. She is not dealing with vaccinations. She is the big picture. Our appointments, we're lucky in BC, are an hour long. Imagine that.
Wow.
And she goes through everything from the big picture, not getting trapped in ear infections and colds, and
Okay.
which is what had happened when we were just with a family doctor. And have that book, because when you're going to the school and you've got a child with ADHD and you're trying to get, it's called an individual education plan for your child, an IEP, you need to show why your child needs it. And when you have these reports and you have labels, I call them, the diagnoses, those each come with funding.
Okay.
And bringing that to them, when we were advocating for our son, we got the support because there was no way out. We had created such a strong case.
This would be kind of like, don't get in front of the judge without the evidence.
Exactly. So you would never go to court without doing your research. Well, don't go to meetings without having the documentation there. And when your child has an assessment or therapy and you get those reports, ask for copies and keep printing them off. And then you'll eventually create a good binder.
Well, thanks for writing the book. I mean, I haven't even read it yet, but I'm getting to know you over the last, I guess, almost a year now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We met at Ignite, which is coming up again.
October 3rd.
That's right. I'll be there. Are you making an appearance for that, or are you going to be busy?
I'll still be on Vancouver Island because I just got back from Sarnia, but my parents are going.
Oh,
watch.
Perfect. Well, Cynthia, I thank you for taking the time to be here with us today and sharing another one of your books. I'll have to get my hands on it and check it out. I know Sarah's going to be in touch with you if she isn't already sending you a friend request.
Excellent.
And please come back anytime. You know how to get signed up to be here, and I certainly welcome you to come back, because you got another book coming. That's great.
Yeah, I got to start writing that. And like I said, I created a new website that is called learnpatientadvocacy.com, where I do a weekly blog post about tips or ideas on patient advocacy for parents and adults.
Fantastic.
That are advocating for themselves.
Well, I wish you all the best, and I look forward to seeing you, hopefully in person sometime. Next time you're coming back, let me know. We'll maybe go for coffee if you have time, and we'll catch up that way too.
And I will wait till it's not 40 degrees out again.
There you go. Cynthia Lockrey, thanks so much for joining.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Always a joy to have her, and a great conversation with Cynthia, and another book out here. Fantastic. Your Child's Voice. And you heard the story in there. And Sarah, get in touch with her. And you can get in touch with her as well. Just go to yourchildsvoice.com. And if you want to pick up the book, head on down here to the Bookkeeper in Sarnia and support local, right? The Bookkeeper, fantastic is that. And go in there and check it out and just take a copy home. And you'll be surprised what's in this book. I'm reading previous books briefly with Cynthia. She's very passionate about what she's doing. So you're going to take away a lot from that. Wow, look at that. We're like over an hour. I could have kept going with Cynthia, could have kept going with Jay and everybody here. There's so much to talk about. And I got to tell you, I'm really grateful for being able to bring the show to all of you, because I do get to meet so many great people doing good in the world and in Sarnia-Lambton here. And it's my privilege to be able to bring it to all of you. So I'm grateful for the guests that we have. And Sarah, thanks for watching. And MB Wilson, thanks for watching. And anybody else who is watching. If you enjoyed the show, in the comments below, give us a 10 if you would, please. And if you didn't like the show, please do nothing. Just come back and give us another chance next week. If you're watching the replay, type replay in there as well. Next week, we're going to have some great special guests up here as well. This will be available all week for you to refer back to and watch the show once again. Thanks, everybody, so much for watching. That's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here on the show live